And then we're going to move on to the presenters. And I'm going to include my information inside the chat box. So again, welcome everyone. This afternoon, my name is Jerry Thomas, and I am the webinar coordinator for AIEA, and also sort of any general information you would like to know about AIEA and our activities, just let me know. That is my name, and I also serve as the secretary for AIEA. I am located here in Phoenix. I also work at the Arizona Indian Education Association, and there I actually work with the Healthy Native Youth Program. And I'm the Healthy Native Youth Specialist, where I work with tribes here in Arizona, Utah, and Nevada, and I provide online and curricula services for teachers, school districts, and tribal organizations who would like more information and free services for disseminating Native American-centered sexual health curricula. So let me my information here. Okay. And if the attendees would like, we are sort of interactive with our chat box. So if you would like more information about any of our webinar series, whether it's the college webinar series, our educational webinar series, our cultural webinar series, or you would like more information about our monthly general meetings, you can just type your name and your email inside the chat box so we can have your information so we can send those announcements to you by email. Just as precaution, we would like for those to be on the call, we would like you to mute yourself so no background noises can disrupt the presentation itself. So, okay. So a disclaimer, this webinar is being recorded. The recording will go up on the AIEA YouTube channel for students and educators to view in the future. We have all of our webinars posted up on there, including this college webinar series. We would like for everyone to hold all the questions that they have for the questions and answer portion that's going to be at the end of the presentation. Or if you would like, you can type your questions inside the chat box. And again, just to prevent outside noises, we would like to, you can mute yourself, mute the microphone so we won't catch any background noises during the presentation. So this topic for this session is presenting Washington State University Native American programs. So we're excited to start this webinar series again. It's been a little over a year since we started our college series, but we're so excited. We had so many presenters last year, and we're so excited to get this kicked off again this year with Washington State University, which we haven't featured yet, but we're so excited to have them on the call. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over a little bit of introductions, just a few minutes, and then we can get started on our presentation for WSU. So what is AIEA? AIEA is the Arizona Indian Education Association, which is a 501c3 nonprofit located here in Arizona. We've been very active recently we have a lot of programs that are going to be coming up. We're going to have our updates at the end of the presentation. Well, at the end of this call, we have our scholarship deadlines coming up. We have our Arizona Indian Education Association Educators Banquet or Educators Award Celebration, and I can provide more information about that later on. We also are in the midst of planning our AIEA Protecting Our Land Youth Winter Camp that's going to be happening from December to January. And also our most recent event coming up is our August AIEA general meeting, which is going to be next Friday, and it's going to be on this Zoom session as well. So I'll provide more information about that at the end. We do have a web page located at www.itcaonline.com/AIEA. To locate our YouTube channel, you can use the search bar to type in Arizona Indian Education Association, and it should come up, our channel. We also have a very active Facebook, and we have all of our updated information as well as other associated information regarding American Indian history, American Indian education updates, federal and local. And also I'm going to provide the purposes of why we created AIEA webinars. So the purpose of the AIEA College webinar series is last year during, well, I would say back in 2020, we decided to do a meeting shift to switch all of our AIEA activities and programs and services to an online layout because of COVID-19 precautions. And we found this was very accessible to our audiences. We were able to get students involved. We were able to get educators and parents and guardians involved with all of our programs. And luckily, we still had, even though we shifted all of our meetings from in-person meetings to virtual meetings, they're still very much attended very well. So we also created this to disseminate information regarding colleges and universities, admissions and programs updates that included the COVID-19 updates to, the admissions process and Native American programs, and, who to contact, who to reach out to, and helping just with the college planning process of last year. So understandably, we decided to keep this layout so we can continue to serve the parents and students and educators that are wanting more information from AIEA. Also, our webinars will be posted the next day after the recording takes place. So you can find our recording of this session tomorrow. We're hoping to get it out in the afternoon once we review the session, and then once we get the okay to go, then we can put it on our YouTube channel. So to view our other college and university webinars, you can visit our AIEA YouTube channel, as I said before. And our usual target audience for our college webinar series are middle school students, high school students, those planning, college planning in the future, and as well as future and current college students, and parents and guardians, and then also educators. And, just in general, those who would like more information about the colleges and universities that we feature. But also we make sure to center it around our Native American students and those in the planning, college planning processes that we can help with strategies and resources. So we'll hand it off to Kim very quickly, our AIEA president.
Okay, a few of the tribal, actually just a quick introduction, as Jerry mentioned. I'm gonna introduce myself in my tribal language, and then I'll explain in English what I said. So, kwa nawa hatso em toya goigu mase chawi na Oklahoma aim dog Kimberly Dinkobige Khan. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us for our first college webinar series of this year. We're very excited, as Jerry mentioned, to get started. And as mentioned, we're going to feature the first college is Washington State University. My name's Kimberly Dinkobige. I am Kiowa, Caddo, and Pawnee, originally from Oklahoma, and I currently reside in Tucson, Arizona. I'm, as Jerry mentioned, the president for the AIEA, but I also serve with the Amphitheater Public School District here in Tucson as a Native American Education Coordinator. And so I'm very excited to get the series started, and even more excited that my brother there, Stephen, is what I call him. I've known him for many years, and we just reconnected or connected when he came here to the University of Arizona. And being both from Oklahoma, Asher, Oklahoma at that. And so it was really odd. I had never in my life ever seen anybody or heard of anybody from Asher. He's the one and only. And so I was very honored to meet him. And he's been such a big support for our program while he was here in Arizona. We definitely miss him. He is missed, and we are very excited for the new journeys that he's ventured out into up in the northern part of the states. And so again, we're just very excited to have him be a part of us and to help support AIEA and to offer this presentation along with his colleagues there at WSU. And so I'm going to turn it back over to Jerry so she can finish out and we'll get started.
Thank you, Kim. So next up is going to be our featured presenters. Our featured universities will always include our core values and mission statement from the college and university, and also required documents for the admissions process, required courses that maybe first year students will experience, degrees and programs that are featured at the institution, and also special scholarships for maybe our Native American students, and any contact information from those featured here as presenters. So without further ado, we would like to welcome the Washington team to start at any time, and I can stop the share so they can pull up their presentation.
I got big fingers. My word is so well in that chat. Stonewall, everybody. My name is Stephen Martin. I am a member of the Muscogee Creek Nation out of Oklahoma. That's where I'm tribally enrolled, but I also have Choctaw blood through my mother's side as well. I am the Director for Native American Student Services here at Washington State University in Pullman, Washington. And I'm very honored, as I've always been, to be asked to do these types of presentations on higher education or to support AIEA. I've done it for a while in Arizona, supporting my sister there, not only with AIEA, but the work that she's done within the Tucson community. I think it's important that us as Native professionals in these positions are able to reach out beyond our current jobs or what we're doing working on universities to ensure that our students, whether they're elementary, middle school, high school, have a better understanding of the college experience and helping with them transition into our colleges campuses. I would say that we are representatives of Washington State University. So as such, we're going to talk about Washington State University today, but we're more importantly than that, we're representatives of Indian education. And WSU might be the place for you, or it may not. But if we could provide any answers or any feedback and responses today in our presentation that will help you make a decision, or maybe give you aha moments about what college is about, where we're glad that we can accomplish that. And of course, we do the good work at WSU because of good staff. And I'm going to turn it over to our staff and let them properly introduce themselves too at this moment.
Hello, bonjour, Joel Dejnakas, Mokondo Day, Moswagani, Dormiba. My name is Joel. I serve as the retention specialist here at Native American Programs, going into my 4th year here. So what I kind of do is I oversee the student center that we have here on campus. I'm also like the one-stop shop for all the questions and concerns that students might have during their time here at WSU. So that's sort of what I do. And shout out to NAU. I did my graduate school work there. So good to be back with some Arizona folks.
Huaklaksa. My name is Sharon Mayo Conagy, and I am the Assistant Director for Tribal Relations and Recruitment. I am a member of the Makah tribe, which is here in Washington State on the very northwest tip of our state. And what I do is I work with what we call our MOU tribes, and we'll talk about that in our presentation, our Memorandum of Understanding tribes, and helping assisting them in their not only their relationship with the college, but also with their students that are here at the university as well. And then I'm also in charge of the recruitment part. So I go out and talk to transfer students, high school students, other students who would like to come to our university and provide them the information that they need.
So this is a wave, so it'll come back to me. There it is. Motion censored. This is a special, I want to say a special time for our team here, because our university just got back on campus in July. And we've been kind of, even though we're officially open, we've been kind of going hybrid for the past couple of months here, or a month and a half. So this is actually our first presentation that we'll be doing together as a team. And when my sister Kim asked me to present, I don't think I ever say no to my sister there when she asked me to do these things. But I felt that we needed to, to get the experts here too as well on our team with Joel and with Sharon, and as they introduce themselves, they work on recruitment, retention, programming, student support for our students. So we do have a presentation that we're going to show, and I'm going to have Sharon start it, and I want to give a shout out real quick to Austin. Hope you're doing well, Austin. I saw you pop up earlier, and then you left. So
well, do you hear me, Steve?
Yeah.
The reason why I joined because I seen you on the flyer, and I was like, "Hey, that's Steve Martin. I know that guy." But anyway, quick rundown. I know Steve from U of A when he was a director at U of A. Matter of fact, I don't know, Steve, if you remember, I'll just say high school at my hometown on my res.
Yeah.
Steve? Yeah. Anyways, I'm basically the higher education counselor for there. So I'll be helping seniors. And I saw this flyer, and I saw your name, and I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna join." Nice to see you.
Good to see you. Thank you. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Sharon to get started, and Joel and I will also be interjecting where we need to be. Okay.
Okay, so how we always start our presentations is we have to give a land acknowledgement. Even though WSU has 6 different campuses, the largest campus is in Pullman, Washington, which is where we are at, and this resides on the Nez Perce territory. And so we acknowledge that this is Nez Perce territory. We appreciate that they are sharing this land with us in order to do the work of higher education that we do, and we partner with them in not only with higher education, but also with other programs that they would like our assistance with. So thank you, Nez Perce, for allowing us to be here. So as I stated before, WSU has 6 different campuses. We're on the Pullman campus. This was our first campus, but we have branched out since then. We have a campus up in Spokane, which is just to the north of us, and they have a lot of health programs. We have a campus over in Everett, that's on the west side of our state, and they do a lot of engineering, and they partner with Boeing, the airplanes. And then to the south is the Vancouver campus. They also do some health, but they have some other programs as well. Our Tri-Cities program focuses on agriculture, but there are also some other programs that they do. And then we have a global campus, which is our online, our distance learning digital campus. So, everyone's able to take classes from there. So 6 different campuses. We're on the Pullman campus, but any student enrolled in WSU would be able to go to the different campuses. So like I said, a majority of our students do actually end up on our Pullman campus. So when I'm talking about, a particular campus, unless I specify, I'm going to be talking about the Pullman campus. because that is our largest one. So our population of Pullman is 34,000 students. Pullman is a traditional college town. Everything here in Pullman, for the most part, is centered around what is happening at the college. So the WSU students, we have about 20,000 students, and a majority of those are undergraduates. So many of our programs here at WSU are for our undergraduate students. We do have some graduate programs, but a majority of them are undergraduates. So just to give you an idea, about 2/3 of the Pullman's population consists of students. So that's why I say it's a college town. And the picture that you are seeing there is what we're in a region called the Palouse. And that's a picture taken in the spring. It is really beautiful green rolling hills. We are towards the end of summer. It doesn't look like that right now, but you know, they are really, it's a really beautiful region to live in and to go to school. So one of the things that you wanted us to report or to talk about, to present on, was the types of degrees and diplomas that we have here. We do have undergraduate studies, and then we have some graduate studies. We have over 200 fields of study. So we have a lot of different programs here. If you know you're wanting to do a certain program, then you know we can talk about what those are, but we have a lot of different departments and colleges in fields of study here at WSU. We have a veterinarian school, we have a communications school, we have a liberal arts, we have a medical school with the health professions, so a nursing program, and then, you know, and many more. So, you know, we could talk about that if you're wanting to see what, if you're interested in WSU, and we can talk about this particular program that you want to be part in. One of the things that WSU really prides themselves into is that we are a tier 1 research university, and we also take pride in having a lot of undergraduate research opportunities. And you know, if you're wanting to as an undergrad, for some of those programs that do require research, sometimes when you go to a university, you won't get those opportunities until you're a graduate student. But here at WSU, we make it a point to make sure we have those available to our undergraduate students as well. We also have study abroad programs on all 7 continents, and I always strongly encourage students to take advantage of study abroad programs. It's probably going to be one of the cheapest ways you can travel the world, then you know, during your life.
Can I absolutely. Wave, or how does it work?
I think it just goes to your
Okay.
lips.
Real quickly, we don't want to make it sound, as we talk about our programs and our support for students, and there's a focus on undergraduate students. We do have, I guess it's my responsibility and working with one of our faculties within our office to help improve upon the recruitment of graduate students, recruiting students or into our graduate programs. We do have a graduate student center here actually within our office and within our center for our graduate students to use. So although our primary focus is within our office with undergrad students, we do have a responsibility to our graduate students too as well. And that's something that I'll be working with some faculty on to improve. So just wanted to throw that out there. So if you know students who may want to attend graduate school and like Washington State University, please encourage them to connect with us too as well. So
yeah, no, absolutely. We do have a lot of graduate programs available for students who do, because Pullman, sometimes you feel a little isolated when you're here. We do want you to know that there are a lot of things that you can do while you're in Pullman. We have Pac-12 athletics. So, you know, the football, basketball, soccer, all of those different sports are here. We have student entertainment. They're always bringing in movies and singers and comedians and those types of things. They're a lot of fun. We have over 400 clubs. So, you know, if there's a club for it, we probably have it. You know, you can do something as, you know, like for parkour, or, you know, like a Harry Potter Quidditch team, or, you know, whatever it is. what is that Frisbee one that they do, the ultimate Frisbee, they have those. We also have fraternities and sororities, if you're interested in Greek life. Culturally based clubs, I'll talk about the Native American, our American Indian ones towards the end of the presentation. If you're athletic, we have intramurals. And then if you are volunteer minded, we also have some community service that's available. So say you are an undergraduate student and you're coming in and you want to see what it's going to look like on campus. This was our 2020 incoming class. We won't get our numbers for our 2021 class for probably about another month. But we had about 3,500 freshmen that came in 2020, 1,000 transfers, and our student to faculty ratio is 16:1. So that means that for every 16 students, we do have a faculty member that's available for them. Okay, so admissions, that was another thing you wanted us to talk about, was admissions. We have our application is online, apply.wsu.edu. You go through it and you fill it out. Towards the end, that's when we have a $70 fee to apply to WSU, but we do have fee waivers available and they're really easy to apply for. All you need to do is just, if you're eligible for it, one of the easiest ways to be eligible is if a student is a free or reduced lunch student at their high school right now, then you're going to be eligible for a fee waiver. There are other ways to be eligible for the fee waiver as well if you're not like a incoming or coming from a high school right away. So there are other ways to be eligible for this. And the deadline for our application is January 31st. January 31st is, remember that date for WSU. That's when our application is due. That's when our scholarship is due. We try to make it as simple as possible and keep with one date. So January 31st, 2022 is our application deadline for fall of 2022. You submit your transcripts, you do that online. You just upload your transcripts. And we do not require SAT or ACT scores to be admitted into WSU. However, I still recommend students take them if they can, because they might make you eligible for certain scholarships, because there are scholarships that will still ask for SAT or ACT scores. So I recommend, if you can, to still take them, but for admissions to WSU, they're not required. And then the admissions criteria is the core requirements. What that means is that, the however many years of math, the 4 years of, or I'm sorry, the 2 years of math, the 4 years of English, we're talking about those requirements. And if you don't meet all of those requirements, our admissions counselor will work with you to make sure that you do meet those when you're here. Your strength of coursework, that means what types of courses were you taking when you were in high school, and are they helping you get ready to come to university? And then your grade trends, what that means is like, did you struggle maybe as a freshman, and then did your grades increase, or was there a year that you struggled and then were you able to overcome that? That's what they're looking at. That's what I'm talking about in terms of grade trends. And if there is a time when, as a student, if you do struggle with your grades, we have a part on the essay where you have a writing response, a writing prompt, and that's a really good time for you to talk about how you overcame maybe some of those hurdles in order to be successful and graduate from high school, or from your, if you're transferring maybe from a 2-year program. The average GPA for for WSU was a 3.48. This was for the 2020 class, was a 3.48, and assured admissions for fall of 2021 was an unweighted GPA of a 3.6. One of the things I should note here is that Washington State University is a land grant institution. And one of the things that we really try to focus on is being able to give an opportunity to every student to be able to come into, well, from Washington State, to come in and attend college. And so we do everything we can to make sure that you will be accepted and admitted into the college. And then we'll do everything we can with our programs here with Joelle and Steve, we'll do everything that we can to make sure that you're successful once you are admitted. We do have a lot of living on campus. We have 20 residence halls. And as we speak, we have students here on campus that are moving in because our academic year is starting in what, a week?
2 weeks.
In 2 weeks. Yeah, so we have students and parents on campus as we speak, moving into residence halls. We have 3 campus dining halls. And that some people look at that and go, oh, 20 residence halls and only 3 campus dining halls. They're really big, and they can meet all the requirements of the students being able to come in for all their meals. We also have 4 campus markets. What that means is like they're usually open maybe a little earlier or a little later than the dining halls in case you get an attack of the midnight munchies. So you can go into a campus market and get a snack. A quarter of all of our undergrads live on campus, and it is a requirement that our first-year students live on campus. And so there are some exceptions to that rule, but it really is. I was a high school teacher, and I remember all my students being very nervous about, it's like, oh, I really don't want to live on campus. I'd rather go and get my own apartment. But believe me, for the students who are watching this and maybe thinking that way, you're going to have a better chance at succeeding at a university if you're living on campus, especially for that first year. So this is really for your benefit.
So taking making a play off University of Arizona, Ogden Key, the living learning community there, Joelle and I are planning to start having those conversations here on our campus here at WSU with housing, with the residential halls, to see how we can maybe create something here, a living learning community for Native students here at WSU. Joelle, she has experience as she was a resident in the living learning community, and she knows how neat that experience was. And then my time at U of A with the living learning community, I think it just would promote very well to have that type of service, that support, that hall here at WSU as well, that LLC. So I just want to throw that out there. Now hear me straight. We don't have one, Kimberly. We don't go say we have one. We're going to start talking about it and see what we can do to build on it in the future.
Okay, so I mentioned at the beginning that we had these MOU tribes. MOU stands for Memorandum of Understanding. And so Washington State University has a Memorandum of Understanding with 12 different tribes. Basically all the tribes in Eastern Washington, and then tribes in Oregon, Idaho, and Montana. And we also have 2 Western Washington tribes on our list as well. So the ones that are in black that you see are out-of-state tribes. The Nez Perce tribe, the Coeur d'Alene tribe, for example, those tribes are in Idaho. And then the ones in the white at the bottom are Washington State tribes. The Cowlitz, the Cowlitz, and so on. And we signed this Memorandum of Understanding with these tribes nearly 25 years ago. And the reason why we did this was because we wanted to make an agreement, and we wanted to have an understanding with these tribes that the university was going to work with them. We, as a land grant institution, we take our responsibility seriously to be able to work with them and to have a good working relationship with them and to provide the best opportunities we can for their students. So these are the tribes that signed on to our MOU, and I'll talk a little bit more about what are some benefits for them to be an MOU tribe.
So as within our area, our office is called Native American Programs. That's the umbrella title. And we all have a responsibility to the MOU and to the MOU tribes. But just to announce real quickly that we do have an executive director for travel relations, Dr. Zoe High Eagle Strong. She heads up this, and as mentioned in Sharon's title, she's the assistant director for travel relations too as well. So they are the lead contacts, point of contacts for making these connections with the MOU tribes, and we are here to support them, our office, and that mission too as well.
This is how much it costs to come to Washington State University. This is a cost of attendance for the Pullman campus. And so the other campuses, there's different amounts, but they don't vary by a lot. So, just go ahead and use the Pullman campus amount as something that's fairly normal, but the other campuses are, they cost a little bit more or a little bit less, but not by a lot. So as we are a state university, so we have in-state tuition and out-of-state tuition. So as a Washington resident, and this is for the year, if you're in Washington State, it'll cost you $10,996. That's the 2021-22 school year. And then out of state, it will cost you $26,312 for tuition. Now, all of the other fees the other costs after that are going to be the same. The only thing that's going to vary is your tuition, whether you're in state or out of state. We have mandatory fees. Those are things such as a student being able to go use our student rec center, being able to use our public transportation in health for our health facility. There's a health facility on campus for them to use. So some of the mandatory fees cover those things for students to be able to use for free. And then we have our room and board. Now this isn't all of it. This is just a median. So, there are some dorms that cost more and there are some dorms that cost less. There are some meal programs that cost more and some meal programs that cost less. So this is just giving you an idea of what it would be for the year. Books, same thing. That's just an average. Your miscellaneous living expenses, transportation. And so your total cost of coming to Pullman, if for an in-state student, would be $28,756, and an out-of-state student would be $44,072. Yeah, so now that we gave you the sticker shock, let's explain how maybe you can pay for some of this. So our financial aid, it comes out, it's available on October 1st. So you can, go to FAFSA.gov and start filling out your financial aid starting October 1st. Priority date to file is January 31st. See, we try to keep those dates as simple as possible. And what that means is doesn't mean that you can't fill it out after January 31st. It just means that you're going to, if wherever the full amount of different grants or different aid, you're going to be able to get the maximum amount if you have that turned in by January 31st. We also have a WSU General Scholarship. There are over 700 scholarships. And I always encourage our Native American students to be applying for our scholarships because there are a lot out there for them. So, and the scholarship application is really easy to use. And you go to scholarships.wsu.edu. And once you apply, once you do your application, there's a link right there and they'll ask you once you applied. It's like, yeah, you've applied to WSU. Would you like to now apply for a scholarship? And there's a link right there for you to go to that. And the scholarship application is really easy to fill out. So I definitely encourage all students to do that. We have scholarships for Washington residents, automatic scholarships for Washington residents called the University Achievement Award. It's $2,000 a year, and they're eligible for 2 years of that if they have between a 3.6 and a 3.79 unweighted high school GPA. And then we have the Distinguished University Achievement Award, and that's $4,000, and that's also renewable for a year. And that's if you come in with a 3.8 to a 4.0. So it pays off to get some good grades. And then we also have a Crimson Transfer Award. And the amount for that, I believe, is the same as the University Achievement Award. And then we also have scholarships just for our Native American students. So we have what's called a Tribal Nation Building Leadership Program here. And if a student applies to that program, they may also receive a scholarship that goes along with that. We also have some scholarships for students who want to go into the health fields. We have our Alumni Association Leadership Award that is just for Native American students. Our MOU Tribal Scholarship, all those tribes that you saw that were part of the MOU, all of their students are eligible for an MOU scholarship. We give 2 scholarships to each tribe per year. So that's 24 scholarships altogether. We also have a Plateau Native American Scholarship. That's for the tribes around Pullman in Eastern Washington. Not necessarily the same list as the MOU, but they're similar. And then we have a couple of other scholarships as well. And these are the ones on the right-hand side are the ones that say under additional opportunities are just for Native American students.
I just want to say real quickly about making a few words, comments about our Tribal Nation Building Leadership Program. So the program, as it reads here, provides leadership skills based on tribal principles and values. The whole purpose of the program is how we can instill in our students the skills, the know-how, the want to go back into the communities and to improve upon the well-being of their communities and their tribal communities. We're trying to make it into a certificate program, and there are scholarships involved with this as well. Our focus is on the MOU tribes, but we also have scholarship funding for non-MOU students too. So correct?
Yes.
All right. Cool. I'm not trying to tell no lies here and whatnot. So that's just a special program that we're, I guess, looking to improve upon as well. And for University of Arizona alum, we also met with Joan and the staff as well, getting some feedback as we look to build and improve upon our program. We also have other scholarships, as Sharon mentioned. We just recently found out we have some scholarships in the College of Education. We know we have scholarships in engineering and in music. So there's a number of opportunities in here for Native students and funding.
Yeah, I guess something else too to add is even though we're presenting to folks in Arizona, if you reside in Arizona and you're a member of one of the tribes that has traditional homelands in the state of Washington, which there is a list of those on our website, then you'd be eligible for in-state tuition as well. So that's one way to get in-state tuition here and get that cost down. But definitely something to consider when you're looking at where to go is the cost of things and what makes sense for you financially, because obviously it will cost you a little bit to go somewhere, but you want to make sure it's the right place for you.
Okay. Take over.
Sure.
Okay.
All right. So the thing about WSU and the students that we serve here, I guess about 30% of our campus identifies as a multicultural student. About 34% are first generation. And then we have about 500 Native students on the Pullman campus here, and about 200 more scattered throughout the other campuses that we have. Of those 500 students, they represent over 100 different tribes, so really a good variety of folks that are coming here to WSU that we're working with. And our Native students make up about 3% of our population, which is really great to see. When you're looking at schools, usually it's like 1%, less than 1%, so it's great that we have representation here on campus. And as we talked about earlier, there was like a bunch of, I don't even know how many, like 400 plus registered student organizations. And these are some of the ones we have that have a Native focus to them. Some of our more popular and active groups are Koima, Nawa, and AIEA, which is our sorority on campus. We have a Native sorority here at WSU. It's the only one in the state of Washington. So we're proud to have that here as well. Some other opportunities, we have our Wazoo Singers, ACES, SACNAS, and then we also have Natives in Media, which is a new group that was formed a year ago. So there's different opportunities for folks if you want to be involved in a specific Native org here on campus. And then, like I said earlier, I run the Native American Student Center on campus. So we sort of like to make this a home away from home for students. There's like comfortable couches, oftentimes we find students taking naps in there. We have a nice computer setup in there for folks to use, including a large monitor you can plug your laptop into if you're writing a research paper, doing some kind of group project with folks. We have free stacks, free printing up to 10 pages a day, coffee maker, all the good stuff for folks. We do a lot of events out of the center, whether it's cultural or social or just, I don't know, playing board games one evening, whatever that might look like. And so we welcome folks to come in and join us. Some of the big events we do every year are Welcome Back Barbecue. We have First Friday feeds, very first Friday of the month. It's usually me, I home cook a lunch for whoever wants to come eat with us and different things like that. And so we really just try to make it whatever the students need for most of the time. So we have one on here. And then in addition, we also have a multicultural student mentoring program. So every incoming first year multicultural student gets matched with a mentor. And so we have 7 of them that work out of our center. So there's another additional resource for folks when they get onto campus to kind of answer those questions. They've been there, done that. And maybe folks might be more comfortable going to a student for some of those questions than me. So we just have that layer of support as well.
Okay, so thanks, Joelle. So as I said before, January 31st is a very important deadline around here. And I don't, even though I say deadline there, we still accept things after that. It's just, this is our priority date. So our admissions priority date for our application, our scholarship priority date is also January 31st, the FAFSA priority date, and then our WASFA deadline. And I didn't talk about WASFA, but basically that's aid that is for students who aren't eligible for federal aid. The state provides aid for some other students as well. So so that's what WASFA is. And then our May 1st is the confirmation deadline. So you get your application in, and then WSU sends back, says congratulations, you're accepted. So then you have until May 1st to say, yes, I'm going to go to WSU. And then fall 22 classes begin on August 22nd, 2022. So if you would like to learn more, did you want to talk about these, Steve? These are your camps.
Sure. Is there a slide for the health scientists?
Mm-mm.
Okay. As Sharon was starting to say, if you want to explore more for WSU, we do have some programs for Native American students, high school students. We just finished up our NIHE camp, which is Native Youth Exploring Higher Education. It was virtual. This camp is normally held on campus. That's of course due to COVID. Last year it went virtual, and we decided to keep it virtual this year. And we had about 30 plus students start out in the program, and it was very successful. It's just an introduction to college, pre-collegiate type of experience to our students to get them familiar with the language, the know-how, all the things they know about college for Native students. We have an Exploring College Engineering Leaders Excel program for juniors and seniors coming up in November. We have about 40 students come to campus during the weekend to, again, get that pre-college experience, to have the opportunity to attend some STEM workshops and get that first feel for college life. We have a Native Youth Sports Summit, which is for 6th through 12th graders. We invited a number of students. I think this is probably our biggest turnout. I think about 100 participants. From my understanding, the last time we had it in 2019? 2019.
Yes.
Yeah. And they come to a basketball game, and again, it's just the outreach that we have here at WSU. And then there's Nahashni, which is a STEAM Health Institute. So a summer program that provides youth hands-on health science learning opportunities for Native students. And this comes out of our Native Health Science Center out of Spokane. And what's they're really, the staff up there is really building on, and it's an excellent program. This is an excellent camp. You can definitely contact us for more information. They're always looking for students across the country to join this particular Nahashni camp. So
Go to native.wsu.edu and you'll see a link there on the left-hand side for all of our outreach programs, and you can take a look at these camps. I strongly encourage all students, even if you're not looking necessarily maybe at WSU, but are just looking at an opportunity to attend a free camp that will allow you to explore college and prepare, then consider coming to one of our camps. So students, these are things that you should be doing now. Admitted students, this would have been if I talked to you in the spring. So let's ignore that side. I'm going to consider all of you prospective students. So what you should be doing is I definitely want you all writing down that website, native.wsu.edu, so you can take a look at our camps and look at when our applications will be open for those, because I would really like to see some of you attending our camps. You can come and take a campus tour if you happen to be up in our neck of the woods. We'll be at college fairs, but you should definitely be going to college fairs in your area as well, because you need to be comparing and taking a look at what the different colleges are offering you. And the only way you're going to know what college is a good fit for you is for you to be able to go out and take a look and see what different colleges have to offer. And I can't emphasize this anymore, but apply for the scholarships. Think of applying for college and scholarships as at least a part-time job, and be looking at all of those different ones. Even if you don't think you're going to qualify, like if it says, oh, it requires a 3.6 GPA and you have a 3.5, or a 3.4, apply anyway, because you just never know. They might lower it, or they might just see that you're just a really special student and give it to you anyway. Don't take no for an answer. Apply for all of those scholarships anyway. And that's it.
Should we stop sharing and see if there's questions in the chat?
So that's the end of our presentation. We are definitely here to answer any questions or comments you may have as we stop the presentation. So, are there questions? Did we meet your expectations?
I know you very much did. I have one question. Just wanting to know if it's available. On average, how many native students come in during the freshman class?
Yeah, I think it's between 100 and 200 at this moment for our freshman class. That's usually about the average number that we have coming in. I also saw a question in the chat if we have trio programs here. We do have a trio program here as well. And we work with them occasionally within our office and refer students over there. We do have that as well.
I am on the trio advisory board, actually, part of my things that I'm doing. So I think we have 8 programs here in the trio. Other questions?
I guess too, students are listening. We do have like an Instagram page if folks are interested in following us on there. That's where we post everything that we're doing. I'll put that in the chat as well if folks want to follow us and just kind of see what the heck's going on.
I have a question. You mentioned that sometimes you provide luncheons and things like that for the students there at times and during some of your events. So my question is, do you, what traditional foods do you serve in your area that are available to students or at different events that you provide? Is there much traditional foods that are served during those times? And if so, what are they? I'm curious.
Yeah, so actually our November First Friday feed is traditional foods in honor of like Native American Heritage Month. It's one of like the things that we do. It just depends. So it kind of depends on our staff and what we want to make. I guess it would have been 2019 now. I'm Ojibwe. I'm from the Lackawanna Band of Lakes Ojibwe Indians, so I made wild rice. And I think we did like a roast that was a buffalo one year. We do some huckleberries with the jam, or either like make it into a dessert form. Sometimes we do a play on traditional foods, and we'll do like something with the corn dish. If we're fortunate enough and one of our students wants to give us some salmon, we'll cook that up. Just variety of whatever we're feeling that year. Now we have some new staff, and so I'm excited to see like what they might want to contribute to this, or ideas for us to cook. But I'm from Wisconsin, so for me it's deer meat and wild rice. So if I can get that out here and cook it, I totally do.
I have a question for you, Steve. And hopefully you're honest with me. So you know how, so I'm a high school counselor, so I'm basically helping high school students with college applications. Right now I'm in my research mode. But one of the things that I doing right now is researching schools that are very strong when it comes to their native students. So with that said, Steve, do you think where you're at now, would it be something that I should take, like, I mean, for me to because you worked at U of A, and I was your student, and the way the U of A went, the total, the number of effort and things that they did for native students wasn't really strong. So does Washington State, is that different for Washington State, Steve?
First, it'd be nice if you turn your camera on so I can see your eyes and see where it's coming.
I thought it was on.
Questions. No, I'm just kidding. Second of all, when you say, second of all, when you say U of A and not being there for students, I hope you're not referring to Native American Student Affairs.
Oh, no. I'm like, you know what I was talking about, like
I know.
When our culture month and stuff like that, there wasn't really no support, basically, is what we get compared to, I don't know, where are you at? Like, is that something that's not like that there? Is what I'm trying to ask.
I'm going to try to answer that question without being too critical of U of A, okay?
Yeah.
I think what WSU has going for them is leadership from top down. And leadership that's involved, and leadership that has forward thinking and wanting to make changes all across campus. And I'm very on board with that. I think we have good staff here that's working within our program, with Joel and Sharon, who are making that efforts too as well, to improve the situation for our students, current and future. As you know me very well, Austin, so you know how I am, and I have to believe in the product. And I think WSU is a good product to be working and serving for. However, with that being said, we know that any place has room for improvement. And there's definitely some things, and Joel's been around here the longest, and Sharon's been a student here. So I'm sure they could sit here and have this conversation with you about where the gaps are here at WSU. But it's also kind of hard to answer that question just now, because I came in under COVID, and I've been working online for the past year. This is the first time I've been on campus, and it's really hard to get a feel for something when you're talking through a computer, right?
Yes, correct.
So give me, after this first semester, let's talk, and I'll let you know the true answer. And congratulations on your job. Good job.
Yeah. So I have a couple high school students that really wanna, I guess they came to my office the other day and said, hey, I really wanna go to somewhere that really values values, native students. And I really said I will. That's why the reason why I joined this media link was to get some insight in. And I saw you, which made it even more and more fun. I was like, okay, I know that guy. So let me pick his brain.
Well, let me. I mean, if my two coworkers don't mind answering that question, I mean, they have the experience behind them here at WSU. So, what are your thoughts on that? Our students value here overall, outside of our office.
Well, definitely. Yeah, I do believe that this is a good university for Native students to go. I wouldn't be working here if I didn't believe that. But we definitely have work to do. We still have some ways to go. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like everything is perfect because it's not. We do have some work to do. Like Steve was talking about like the residency, the dorms, for example. That's something that we definitely want to work with. I would like to see our student organizations have more support for their programs, and I would like to see the university have a little more support for those student organizations. But yeah, I think overall this is a good place to send your Native American students.
Okay, good.
You got anything to add, Joel?
No, I think that was it. I think, yeah.
So here's the thing too, Austin, about WSU, which U of A lacks, is this MOU agreement. All right, so we're in this memorandum of understanding agreement with how many, 12 tribes?
We have 12 tribes.
12 tribes here in this region. Basically, we're held to that agreement to work with these tribes to better the experience for their students coming to our university. Imagine if University of Arizona had a memorandum of understanding with the tribes, from the president's office down, and how that would work for University of Arizona, right? It kind of keeps us on our toes, and with that understanding, we have a Native American Advisory Board, so we meet with them and getting their feedback and for the MOU tribe. So we're held to that standard, as well from the tribal communities too. So I'm here, and Austin, if you wanted to bring students here, darn well they'd be taken care of.
Because that's a big thing. Because so last year, so part of my job is to schedule college tours too. So, but with COVID last year, all that was canceled. So we still have that funding from last year. And this year, I don't think it's going to happen. But come next year, basically, I'm going to try to get some out-of-state college tours set up. So that was the reason why. Another reason why I got, I attended this I guess presentation, Steve.
This is probably going to be the second or third time that Joel has heard me say this, but I'm going to say it again, that I've really questioned if I, go into a place where I am needed the most, right?
Yes.
And I've asked my question about Washington State, am I needed here? And I was kind of borderline yes or no, because there's already good people in place here doing the good work, right? I'm like, man, I may not be needed here. It's supposed to, whatnot. So that's a good thing, though. That's just a good feeling of the work that our staff is doing. So yeah, I feel very comfortable, here. So
Okay. Well,
Erwin,
it's good to see you, Steve.
that's awesome. And again, congrats on your job. We got you somewhere. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's good. And then you're like one of my, because I don't know, I just lost in touch, I guess. But once I see you on the flyer, I was like, I gotta join. I gotta watch. I gotta see Steve.
Well, thank you. It's good. It is good. It's good to see you. Something making me miss Arizona.
Yep.
So, Norwood.
Hello. I don't know if you
What's
can
up?
see me. No, I just had a question. I like the resource that you're all talking about in the MOU. That's wonderful. 25 plus years. That's incredible. I just had a question regarding TRIO. You answered my question that there is a TRIO program there. You all are involved with them by referring students out. But is there any other deeper collaboration going on between the NATIVE program there at WSU and the TRIO program regarding Upward Bound within the local high schools, but also with the Idaho College right there? Is there a working relationship, something going on there? Are there work studies available, summer mentorship, student leadership programs that are available to college students that are coming in and working with those high school students? I just want to ask that question because as a former TRIO advisor and student leader at one point in my life, I find it very beneficial. And I just know that's a wonderful program. We just got that back here at U of A. We lost it 5 years ago. We got it back again. And it's just a great program. It could probably answer some of Austin's questions too. I don't know if his tribe or where he's working at has an Upward Bound to provide funding for that, because I know Upward Bound sends students out, they give money to them, and those grant proposals take them across the country to different institutions. I know we're able to take students to Washington State, Washington, DC, and tour some of the schools over there when I was an advisor. So those are some of my questions I had regarding WSU, the native program that you all work for, and the student connections to those different programs regarding TRIO.
Aaron, do you want to give your title?
Oh, my name is Durham Begay. I'm a citizen of the Navajo Nation, the Nation tribe. And I work here at the University of Arizona. I usually work real closely with Stephen with the CLC program, the Cultural Learning Community Program, and the Living Learning Community Program. But I work within the BASC program, the Thrive Center programs, a program called Academic Interventions or Persistent Completions, Academic Interventions, and I am a strengths coach within that program. And that's another question I had. Does your program or your institutions working with the Native programs, do you have a strengths-based program that you have involved with students at your institution too, to add on to my question?
Okay, question number one, TRIO services. Are you familiar with TRIO services?
We have TRIO services here, and I do refer students in. I know the folks that work in that office. A lot of the resources they provide, we also provide down here. We just refer students to other places on campus. We really have those just connections and transparency. Like I know folks in the tutoring office, I connect with students on their financial aid, and I really work on their behalf as well. But if students want to be in TRIO, we're more than happy to help get them connected with the folks down there. We probably could strengthen our relationships with what they're doing over there as well. If I'm just being honest, I guess, but I guess that's on me. That's to strengthen my connections over there, but they do really good work over there as well.
I don't know if you got on a little bit later, Derwin, but I mentioned that I serve on the TRIO SSS Advisory Board. I should just say TRIO Advisory Board because it's, I'm very honored to have been asked to be part of that. And I think the reason why they asked me to be part of that is to kind of have that stronger connection with our Native students. We had our first meeting for this semester, start of the semester yesterday. I do plan to follow up with the director because I do want to get more information back on the involvement of what they're doing with our Native students. We do have an Upward Bound program. I want to know what communities they're going into and how they're working that. And then trying to bring in Sharon with that too as our recruiter and see how that works too as well. And all the things that you mentioned, the services that you mentioned, we do provide those things to SSS on campus for our current students too. So the program's, I think 20 years strong. So it's been around for a little while. So it's a good program and I'm glad to be happy to be part of it. As far as your strengths-based question for Native students, I'm not familiar. That would probably be a Joelle question as she works directly with our students.
Your question was, so we're using a strength-based model and the services we're providing. Was that sort of the question on that one?
Yeah, but do you have a specific program? Are there any specific programs that you all are looking at right now or currently in place that works with strengths-based, like Gallup Strengths, Gallup Clifton Strengths particularly?
I've used the 16 personalities one. I've used that one in our Tribal Nation Building Leadership class to sort of give students a sense of that. But not a program in particular. I think most of mine are focusing on like building a sense of belonging on campus, finding resources on campus, writing scholarships, just doing fun things, bringing their families to campus and different things of this sort. But I guess I should say I taught the first year class of the Tribal Nation Building Leadership Program, and the whole point of it was for students to get a stronger sense of their culture and their values and their beliefs and like how that transfers as being a Native student on campus, which to me is like finding out what your strengths are, also finding the resources on campus to be successful here, but also how do you keep your Native identity and like what does that sort of mean to you, and just really exploring that more deeply. And so in that class in particular, we did go into depth with those kinds of things.
Thank you for answering my question. I know these are probably some difficult questions to ask, as Steve and you all mentioned earlier. I came in a little late too, kind of busy over at the home, working too as well. But with the situation we're in, to not being on campus, not physically, working together, things of that kind of being disconnected, going via intertechnology, things like that. So I know it's kind of a difficult question to answer some of these questions too, because we haven't hit the road running in a sense in various different ways that we could probably potentially look at some of these things. So I appreciate your answering my questions and giving me some insight into what your institution is doing. I love that campus. I love that campus. I love that ice cream that it's famous for over there in WSU. I have a friend who worked down here. I met her when I was doing my master's. Jeanette Mariscal, she's from Washington State University. She used to work here at the Thrive Center. So she used to bring apple pie from out that way too as well. So wonderful, wonderful place. Thank you.
Yeah, Ferdinand's is pretty great, I will say. That's ice cream on campus. We have our own creamery. So we make cheese and ice cream. So if you come here and take a tour, you have to stop there and get some. It's pretty good.
So everybody's asked a question except for Christine. And since I know you, Christine, you might as well ask a question. If you're still on. Not a fry bread question either. She must have walked away. Are there other questions, Kim?
I do have a question, and while Christine's probably thinking of one, I'll give her time to think of a good question to ask, not related to fry bread. But I do want to ask, because I work with, and a lot of the audience that we cater to also with our association with AIEA involves students in K through 12 and college age students as well. But with our K through 12 schools and even into college within this past year and what the pandemic had, that effect that it has had upon our students at WSU, have you had or have you noticed, or what are the statistics for any of the Native students attending from last year versus in the years past? Have they continued their education, or have you seen a drop in attendance? As far as attendance, not only that, but also as far as grades, how well did they do, in a virtual setting, if that's what the university did, versus coming back to in-person class? And the reason why I ask is because a lot of our students who have experienced that, we tend to see that drop in attendance. Within my district alone, we started out the year before with about 495 students, and then we went back down this year to 415. And so we had a big drop of Native students that are actually coming to our district. And so my question is just there at Washington State University, have you seen any of those statistics that have happened with your Native students specifically in attendance and in grades as well?
Yeah, I guess in the past 2 years, our enrollment did drop last year for all the students across campuses, all the Native students. We did see a significant drop in those attending. However, something interesting, since I've started here, last year was the largest graduating class we've had of Native students, which was really cool to see. But I also, yes, noticed like sporadic attendance or students that usually always came to things. I didn't really hear from them, so I had to really tap into them personally and reach out more frequently. And I think it's different because you can't just see them in the student center and can't check in how they're doing. You really have to put in that extra effort. And so I think that probably had a ripple effect across the board. And I think students that struggled already, they continue to struggle. And I heard from so many students that online learning did not work for them. They probably didn't want to do it for another semester. So I think they really did struggle, but we're doing the best that we can and excited to have an in-person experience again this year and hopefully get those students back on track and back connected with resources and us and those sorts of things.
I have another question. Do you guys have any Indigenous faculty that you refer students to, or maybe a popular class that has an Indigenous faculty member that students usually go to, or Indigenous subject matters that are taught at the campuses?
Well, we do. I'm trying to answer this question with the right terminology we have here. We do have a running list of Native faculty and staff across all the campuses, and we have different meetings with those folks at least once a semester. Ken, who's not with us, kind of spearheads that. As far as we have a minor in American Indian Studies that's on the global campus. However, our Tribal Nation Building Leadership Program is really the one we recommend students to join if they'd like to join. Because that's taught by our staff and other Native faculty on campus, and is really that cohort model. And you have Native students in your class, and you learn about Native things, and you get to talk about them, and just all those things that kind of come around. As far as like faculty, like we have Zoe, folks that come to Ken, me, even though we work in Native programs. The other folks want to jump into with that, but and we just recently, since we've been virtual, we've had like a cluster hire sort of, and we have a new professor in the School of Music, and she's Yakima, and so we're excited to keep partnering with her. And the Native Health Science is growing on the Spokane campus and the resources up there, and just sort of building partnerships across campus to best serve the Native students that are here and where they can get connected, even if they're not on the Pullman campus.
Okay, thank you.
I turned to Joelle for that question because again, I'm just now getting on campus, and we know that we have 2 faculty within music and is it journalism?
Well, we have one in education too.
Education. There are a number of Native faculty, and my understanding is that they used to come together and meet, and that's something that one of our faculty, Dr. Kim Larkinsgard in our office, kind of wants to go back to doing again, just for us to come together and meet and keep faculty in the loop as well. So something we're going to build on.
I have a question.
All right. You did it here.
Sorry. I'm trying to work at the same time. So my question is, first of all, I have a daughter. She is college age. She's been looking at schools around the country that she might want to transfer to. But as a parent, obviously, I'm afraid that if she does go somewhere out of state, like say, for instance, Washington, that she might either get homesick. What is the, if freshmen or sophomores that are barely coming in, what is the turnaround or the statistics for kids that go to school out of state that end up just coming home because due to homesickness, or how do you guys retain people, brand new students at your school?
Do you know any data?
I don't have any data off the top of my head. I don't have any data off the top of my head, but I say I work with them like I work with every other student and just try to address those issues and see what kind of solutions we can come up with. Maybe it's like, how can we save up money for you to at least for sure go visit over the holidays and those sorts of things, and what's really going to work for you. But I also think it's important to have those real talks before they get here too. Like, what does this look like? Realistically, how often can you go home? Can you afford to be here? Like, what kind of back work do we need to do to make this happen if you really want to be here? I mean, I went to school in state because it was cheaper. So I totally get that. And I think that's half the battle is affording it. And then making sure you find your community here really and those you can lean on. I don't have any statistics off the top of my head or like handy about our transfer rates and our retention rates on those students specifically. So I can't tell you, but we do get a lot of out-of-state students that come here. And I think those are the students, they're like, oh, I want to be as far away from home as possible, or this is like their dream school, or maybe they've seen that we have, I would like to toot our own horn, that we have a good Native support here, so they want to be here and want to experience that too. So there are reasons and good stuff going on here.
Yeah, we have found that we are collecting data on that right now. We actually applied for a grant, and one of the specific focuses on that is collecting that data that you were just talking about. How many students do we lose due to like homesickness? And and we do realize that a lot of that is with our first year students. And so, but one of even though we don't have any conclusions from that yet, but some of the early findings was that those who are more successful here are those who do connect with our Native American Student Center or do, find a community here on the university to support them. So that's why when I was explaining about when you're looking for different universities, find that one that really works and fits for you, a place that you feel comfortable in attending, and I know sometimes students tend to get a lot of advice. I'll be nice and say just advice from people and try to push them into different universities or the other. And then sometimes students will go ahead and go to those just to appease that person that's, that gave them that advice. But really students, you really need to find a university that they feel comfortable going to. They feel like they're going to have the support at that university. And we are, like I said, we're finding in that early data that those who found a support system here within our Native Student Center is succeeding.
Yeah, and I think too, the signs are negative. It's negative around to transfer, like to leave WSU, but I think I can speak for all us on the staff that we want students to go to the right place for them, what makes most sense. I've had students that come here like from Hawaii, and they realize it's really expensive or it's just not realistic. Maybe they want to be a teacher, and so taking out all of these extra loans or whatever it is to be a teacher doesn't make sense. So I've actually helped them transfer like to University of Hawaii, or maybe they want to go to Eastern because it's closer to home. And so I do help those students make those things happen. So it's really about what works for you. And I'm going to be sad that you leave, but also proud because you're doing what you want to do and what makes sense. And so we're just here to holistically help the students get where they need to be.
Thank you for answering the question.
And Christine, knows that Steve's there, so he'll keep an eye on Skylar.
If that's good enough.
Thank you.
Other questions? Kimberly, anything else?
I believe that's it for me. There's a lot of great information that you guys shared. And so thank you for your time and sharing that out and answering the questions. And even for the answers you don't have the data to, thank you for answering to the best of your ability that you can, because it still provides some information and gives us all an idea about, the services that are provided, the statistical information for the Native students there at the university. Someday I'll make a trip up that way. I've never been to Washington State, but my husband keeps telling me how beautiful it is. And so one of these days I'll have to make a trip up there. Maybe I can bring some students up and have a college visit when everything works out and starts to settle down. But it's really great information. And as we mentioned, this will be recorded. This is recorded, and we'll put it out on our YouTube page. And so there may be questions on there. So if there's any that come available at a later time, we'll definitely forward those to you. So thank you for being here and sharing these this information about the university. Greatly appreciate it.
Thank you for having us and giving this the time to share WSU with you all. So
Thank you. So last but not least, we'll just move forward with some quick updates from AIEA. So the earliest event happening is our virtual August AIEA general meeting. We meet every third Friday of the month. So August the 20th is our next meeting coming up. So that's next Friday. It happens from 11 to 1 p.m. Arizona time. Again, if you have any questions about any of our events coming up, just let me know. I'll have my contact information in the next slide. Also, we do have our student scholarship application coming up. So this is the 2021 to 2022 school year student scholarship application from AIEA. To look up for more information about the scholarship application that's seen at the right, you can visit the webpage at www.itcaonline.com/AIEA, and it's going to be in the column to the left. The scholarship should be there. So once you click it, we advise that the students please look through the entire web page. There is a bunch of important information regarding the categories for scholarships. So students are only supposed to apply to one scholarship. We have one scholarship available to middle school, high school students. We have 3 scholarships available to high school students. That's from grades freshman all the way to senior year. And then we have college, 3 college category scholarships, and they include incoming freshmen all the way to graduate students. So all that we ask is that students are located here in Arizona, meaning they have a established residence here in Arizona, but also are going to an Arizona school or college or university. So again, there's a bunch of important information that students should know about before applying to the scholarship. We did extend the deadline though to August 23rd. So that's not this coming Monday, but the Monday after. So it should give enough time for students to quickly put together the application, but also the big thing is putting together the 2 letters of recommendations by someone that's not a relative or related to them. And next, we do have our 2nd annual Educators Awards celebration. That's going to be Saturday, September 18th. And that's going to be from 1 to 3. For more information, you can visit our webpage again. We are also still accepting nomination forms. So these are 11 award categories. We're going to be preparing as a hybrid event. So that's going to be partially in person, but also it's going to be available online to view as well. And right now we just ask if you are interested in nominating someone from your community, from your student school that's been serving American Indian students, please let us know, and then we can send you a nomination form. The nomination form is also on the webpage as well. If you go to the general AIEA webpage, it's going to be on the left again, the column to the left, and it should say the the Educators Award celebration. And when you go there, the nomination form is very easy to fill out. Again, 11 categories. If you're a parent, if you're a teacher, if, even if we have an unsung hero award, those that are outside the classroom, we've got nominated from bus drivers from the event before. We awarded bus drivers. We've awarded cafeteria associates. We've awarded administrators. We've awarded a lot of people that work inside and outside the classroom. So if you have any nomination forms, please let us know and we can help you fill them out. And also you can submit them to me, and then we'll be able to announce awardees in the next 2 weeks. So we're just really asking, if you have a nomination form, it's okay if you're a parent or a student that just wants to nominate someone, that's fine. We just want to get the word out there because we are looking for more nomination forms for the 11 categories. And then next up, just an FYI, we are still planning our 2021 Protecting Our Land Winter Youth Camp. Generally, our winter youth camps are open to grades 7 through 12. And this year we are planning for an in-person camp event. So far, we just agreed that we're doing it December 19th through the 21st. Wait, I'm sorry. The 19th through the 21st. So that's just a few days of a very small group of students coming together to do activities for protecting our land camps. We actually put this together so we can interact with students and teaching them not only the sciences of how tribes protect their land and their water and their resources, but also we get them together with those that are involved in their tribal community, usually professors and teachers and those that already work with the youth. We want to put a camp together again so that we can provide these activities, but more from a cultural perspective of how students can play a role in protecting their tribe's land and their water and their resources. So if you want more information about the camp, please let me know. My email is down there for the information. And lastly, if you would like more information about our webinar series, just let us know. We have multiple webinar series in the making. We have our educational webinar series. We have our college webinar series, which is this one right here. And we also have our cultural webinar series, which usually happens, once a month or every other month on Thursday afternoons. And then also we have our general meetings. And we will be starting our health webinar series this month. So just to send out announcements that we're planning, we'll be announcing that. But if you would like any information about AIEA or any of our upcoming webinars or our events, please let me know. My contact information is right there. Just contact me at jerry.thomas@itcaonline.com as my email, or you can call me at 480-452-4867 on my cell, and then I'll be able to connect you and help you with that information. And we also have our general AIEA webpage that we generally put a lot of our events and programs up online. But other than that, if anyone doesn't have any questions, we can adjourn this webinar. And we just, again, as an organization, we just thank you so much for attending this webinar. And we're just so happy to bring this back. So thank you all.
Thank you, Jerry. Really quickly before we log off, can you just tell a little bit more about the healthy webinars that are going to be coming up, because that does include parent information that they can attend those as well.
Yes, so this month we're going to be starting our Healthy Native Youth health webinar series. So basically this is a collaboration between AIEA and the Healthy Native Youth program at the Intertribal Council of Arizona. So this webinar series is going to be part of an IHS grant that I at Healthy Native Youth received, and we're going to be putting together a webinar series because we want to get some information about to parents, students, and also educators. So we're going to be focusing on trainings. We're going to be focusing on topics that include parents working with their students, or students being able to mentally and healthily prepare themselves as they move through the education system. So I'm really glad that we actually had this college webinar series today. As we were going through the webinar series, I was taking notes about possible topics that we can include in our health series. So one of them was, including coping strategies with homesick Native students. So that was something that was very interesting that we could also include. But other topics that we're going to include is we're going to feature some available websites and resources, local and national, for centering around Native students' health and wellness. That includes mental well-being, physical well-being, but also having health resources for students, that are growing. So that includes topics that parents might want to sit in on, which as includes STDs 101, what students need to learn, and also websites and resources that they can get that are medically accurate but culturally relevant. So students are able to research and find facts and information about any of their health questions that they have. For example, one of our topics that will be coming up next month in September is Ask Auntie. So we have a We Are Native website. Well, actually, it's a national website, We Are Native, which is operated out of Portland. And what's going to happen is Ask Auntie is actually a service that We Are Native offers, and students can ask the virtual Ask Auntie questions, whether it's about health or culture, and she actually reviews them, she answers them directly, or she creates videos to answer those questions. For example, she actually collaborated with me just last week about a question that was submitted by a student. The student was asking about ribbon skirts because she was thinking about starting to make ribbon skirts, but she was wondering how ribbons are organized on the ribbon skirt, and then do they matter? What is cultural significance to them? And because Ask Auntie Amanda, she didn't know too much about ribbon skirts, she reached out to me. I just make ribbon skirts, as a way to cope with my mental health, and also my well-being and cultural significance in how I see things. So I really do enjoy making ribbon skirts and making beaded jewelry, but with the ribbon skirts, I was able to assist her with helping to answer questions like that. So she gets a broad spectrum of different questions about health, wellness, from students, and also cultural questions. She has a lot of videos also up on YouTube answering these questions, and also questions that are very important to students. For example, there's a lot of questions about not only health, like STD prevention, but also about cultural identity. A lot of students have questions about that, how to navigate that if they're multiracial, or if they grew up on or off or on border native lands. So her questions that she answers, they're very informative, and also she comes from a health background, so it's very very helpful that she's going to collaborate with us to get out these, to help collaborate with these webinars. Some of these webinars are going to be from internal resources. Like for me, our very first webinar is going to be introducing this health webinar series from AIEA and Healthy Native Youth, but also introducing the Healthy Native Youth website and how to navigate the website. So I'm going to provide some program resources from ITCA about what we offer in our Healthy Native Youth program, how we can partner with tribes and also help fund for some of their services if they would like to learn about our curricula, and also any tabling events or any other online collaborative events or services we can do. I can help with that. So that's going to be our very first session. Our second session is going to be the Ask Auntie and We Are Native website and how to navigate it. So we're very excited for that. But we're hoping to get out a schedule. It's going to be the same Zoom link and connection information here as the same as the webinar. But if anyone has any further information or questions, just let me know, and then we can get in contact and I can be able to help.
Thank you, Jerry.
Okay.
And I don't see any other questions coming in.
Okay, so I'll adjourn the meeting and then stop the recording.